everybody, welcome back to the channel. Okay, so this is going to be a series that I'm going to start today that goes through the basic setup of the Kuzma 4.11 inch arm on the Stabi R, Kuzma Stabi R turntable. So I'm going to go through, I've studied the manual, you may have seen a video prior to this one where the arm was sitting on the turntable. I had it basically set up. I've gone through the whole process. I've pulled everything back off the turntable again now. So we're going to go through it step by step by step. It is something that anybody setting up a 4.11 on a Stabi R will have as a reference point, and anybody that's just interested in the process will also be able to follow along as we go. So I'll spin the camera around in a minute so that you are watching what's happening on the turntable. I'll bring over the parts of the tone arm bit by bit, and we'll install those on the turntable, and I'll explain everything to you as I go. And we'll break this up into digestible parts in a series, and go through that whole process. So this will be the basic setup according to the Kuzma manual. And then what we will do is we'll bring the Wally Tools system in here. And once I've got it set up to a point where I'm really pleased with everything as per Frank Kuzma's instructions, we'll just see if we've needed to do anything further with the Wally Tools setup. It'll be actually an interesting experiment. So I'll do everything to the millimeter, to the 10th of a millimeter, according to the manual. And then we'll see how close that is to what the Wally Tools suggests we should be at. So anyway, I'll spin the camera around now and we'll get started. Okay, so here we are. Here is the Kuzma Stabi R turntable. As you can see, it's everything's off the arm board where we're going to start. So this is the collar arrangement that comes with the 4-point arm. Now it has a small, you might be able to see it there, a small Allen key arrangement. Now, that is best, I found anyway. We slide this in here, and then we align the holes up on the thread. Now, there are two sets of holes in this arm board. There are straight through holes for, I guess, a mounting up through underneath, and a threaded hole. We're using the threaded ones here, which will line up with this. We want this Allen key, which is going to hold the VTA tower in place. We want that at an easy point to access. So this is one of my amplifiers, so you guys know roughly where I am. Here, the turntable hasn't moved from where it normally goes. So what we're going to do is we're going to drop this in. We're going to align it up over the threaded holes, and then we're going to have this Allen key here, which we've got a tool for that is supplied with the tone arm over here. So we've got access. We can tighten this up and loosen this and not get caught up with it being anywhere else. So the next thing we'll do is the supplied Allen key bolts, which you see there, go into here and just give them a start. You'll feel them take up. There's three of them, obviously. So we'll get a start on all three. Put those in like so. And we'll get hold of our Allen key. And we'll just give those a... we want to wind them down to a point where they are just touching and bottoming out into this the collar here. So that will go, they'll go down and they'll just find home. And obviously where we can get a bit more torque on the bolt, we'll just give them a little bit of a nudge up, nothing crazy. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel here. We just go around, always go around twice and just make sure that usually this time very little if anything gets done. So that is our collar in place, and with our access for our to tighten up the VTA tower in position in an easy accessible area. It can be there or it can be further around to the back, which would be one further turn around on these threaded positions here. but then it's right at the back here, and I can get better access from the side here. Now, each to their own here. It's either going to be in that position or it's going to be just out there in that position, whatever you prefer. So that's there. The next thing, bear with me a second, is this is the VTA tower assembly. So, of course, Frank Kuzma does a magnificent job of everything being beautifully machined perfectly. So when this slides in through this hole here, you will see that it is a lovely tight tolerance fit, and we are looking for a position that I think has the face just facing slightly in from straight ahead. At this point, it's a good starting point. Then we put our screwdriver in the side here. As you can see, we've got easy access, and then we've got our VTA tower locked in place. So that is a very, very rough, basic setup. Another thing worth also doing before you get too carried away with anything here is where your the lever is at the back here, which locks the VTA adjustment on and off. There's a gauge that you'll see down the side here that gives you the VTA adjustment. Once you're at this position here, adjust the I've already done this, but adjust the VTA so that it is right in the middle of its adjustment, so that there's a line there for the center adjustment, which will give you around 4 millimeters of positive and 4 millimeters of negative adjustment. And this is a good time to do that while you've got access and the arm's not in place, and then you can get it in that neutral position, if you like. And then it's just a matter of very gently sliding the locking lever across again. Okay, everybody, so now that we've got the VTA tower in position, I've taken the platter off the turntable just so that I can get a good look at the VTA adjustment and you guys can see it. So I'll throw a bit of light on the subject here, and you can see that there is the setup. Now, as you can see when we zoom in there, I'm right on that 50% area, and as you can see, there's more room above and below that line. I've set up on that particular point there because it gives us plenty of adjustment to be able to move the VTA up and down as we need to do. And so it just gives you an idea of what or how things are set up, and that is the adjustment for the VTA down in that corner there. You can see that scale there. So anyway, that's in place. I'll put the platter back on now, and we'll go through the measurement and adjustment for the bearing to spindle adjustment from this point here across to the bearing here. So that's the next thing. We've got a protractor that is supplied by Kuzma for that particular measurement, and that is supplied with the 4-point arm there. So as you can see, there it is sitting in place, and we'll check all that section out right now. Okay, so platter is back on. Here is the protractor. This is the measurement tool that that is supplied with the 4-point. And there's a couple of measurements here that we want to look at that we can. So this is this tells us exactly where our RPM speed is on the turntable when we measure things on here, like remember the old Technics 1200s used to have a light shining there, so this essentially, when it's spinning around, should stop at the point where we're at 33, 45 and 78 RPM at 50 Hertz and also at 60 Hertz. So that's something that comes with the turntable, but it also happens to be about the thickness of a record. So that's important because we're going to use that to talk a little bit about getting the queuing tower, which is this section right here, because it makes reference to it in the book. So that section there, the top of that section there, needs to be at the height of the record. So what we're going to do is, if I sit this straight edge of this protractor on here and we look down there, we can see that we are essentially at the top end of just a little bit above, which I like to be at. So that is gives us an idea of that height from there should be in line with the top of this this platform here. And that's just a matter of, again, putting our tool in the side as we did this this one down here and adjusting the height. Now, the next thing that we want to do is this spindle to bearing measurement. So to do that, what we do is we slide this protractor here around the vertical bearing and over here, and that should sit down in there. Down now, there's a threaded collar here, and then there's the actual spindle itself. We want to be at the bottom of this spindle. So when we look at that, and this section here fits over that bearing, as you can see there, and we get a nice snug fit over here. And if I move this, there's very, very little play at all. And that is the measurement that we're looking for from this point here to that point there. And it's just a matter of the adjustment with this is simply by putting this Allen key here into that section in there. We back that off, and then we slide this whole tower around to take up any slack that's in here. Now, there's none there. That is perfect. I've already set it up, but I just wanted to show you exactly what happens there. And you can see, to get this off, it is relatively snug, but not crazy tight. And then up it comes. So that is your protractor. That gives you your correct measurement from the bearing point there to the spindle there. Now, I was really close. I was just a little bit inside it with my initial setup. As I said to you before, and we'll see if we can get some sort of idea as to, there's the front of the turntable, and as I said, that front face there of where it says Kuzma 4-point is just tipped in. It's almost in line with the Kuzma badge here on the turntable. It's almost directly in line with that. But it's a matter of just getting it roughly there, and then obviously going through the process with the protractor, and then just backing off the Allen key in the collar there, and then moving the tower like this to take that gap up, and then getting your height correct. So there's a double thing you're doing there, and you can use the protractor clearly for both, because you've got a nice straight edge along the edge of the protractor there. So if we sit it on top of the speed tool measurement there, we can actually get a nice straight edge, and then we can see exactly where we're sitting, and we're really, really close. We're just a whisker higher, and I like to be a whisker higher because there is adjustment on the queuing here, so we can actually undo there's a tiny little 1.5 Allen key in there that we can back off, and we can move this whole arrangement here up and down as we need to, if we need to. So that is setting up the VTA tower. We've got that in place now, and I've gone through all the measurements and in regard to that. So the next thing we'll be doing is we'll be setting up the arm on the VTA tower and going through the next process with that.